Thanks so much for joining me, Jessica, and great to have you on here. I know we just met in Atlanta not that long ago.
Yeah, I've known a lot about you. I'm a little fangirl, so I probably would know way more about you than you know about me.
Well, that's why I'm bringing you on here so I can learn more about you. So this is awesome. Why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Jessica Dotson, Director of Business Development with Multi-Service Fuel Card. Me and my husband also own our own trucking company. I serve as Vice Chair on the Women in Trucking Foundation, also co-chair the Women in Logistics with the Broker Carrier Summit Group, advocate for drivers, obviously, and happy to be here.
Yeah, awesome. I know it was great having you at the Atlanta happy hour type thing. It was great having you at Atlanta because you're based out of KC though, right?
Yeah, sure am. Born and raised. Go Chiefs.
Yeah, it's so funny how the logistics network up there is there's so many people in logistics there. It's like wild.
It is crazy. There's a lot of major trucking companies here in Kansas City. The rail yards, are down in the bottoms of Kansas City. We are the heart of America, so it makes sense, right?
Right. So did you guys start off, you and your husband start off as like having your own trucking company and then got into the field cars or how did everything
No,
started?
no, my journey started. My degree is in accounting, so I did accounting for many years. That's what I went to school for. My husband worked in the back of trucks. He did forklift operating for his younger years, and whenever I met him and we were dating and through our early years of marriage, he kept explaining that, I want to be out of the back of the truck. I want to start driving a truck. And it was like, took that as, okay, have fun, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Support your dreams. You've supported mine. And quickly it turned into and spiraled into him being in a semi truck and being over the road. Reality kicked my butt hard whenever he was gone. I had two young children at the time, four young children, two of which were not in school yet. And so um, him leaving and me supporting those dreams
On
was
you.
not, yeah, being at home, raising kiddos kind of as a single parent, I say that lightly. It's not, I don't want to put into perspective of I was a single mom. I didn't have support. He was supporting us in a different element. The single mom aspect of that was everything at home was on my shoulders at that point because my husband carried a great weight at home. We were equal partners in household duties and the responsibilities of our children. He was the roots of our house. He was our safety net. And so him being gone was a huge adjustment for all of us. We missed him terribly. As a student driver, you can't just talk to him all the time like you can an owner operator that kind of runs their own business and manages their own time. He had to focus, he had to train, he had to study, he took it very seriously. And so there would be, short moments when he would stop overnight at a truck stop where we'd get the, hey, I'm good, but I got to go because training doesn't just stop when you're driving. Training
Right.
still goes on with you're in your truck now. Now you got to do your logs. He was doing paper logs at the time. We need to go into the truck stop, get our showers in, get dinner had, and then he had a trainer in the truck with him that he would conversate with. So there wasn't a lot of personal conversations that were had between us. So 3 weeks was a long time between being able to actually see each other. 3 weeks meant I got to chase him. Where are you going to be for your 34-hour restart? So I would drive to travel centers and we would get a hotel room and hang out as a family together, and then he'd be back on the road. So
Wow.
2 months usually is about the time that I would have to wait until I actually came home. And so that was a lot. We were together for, I would say, probably 5 years all the time, meaning we worked together, we lived together, we raised kids together. We usually carried about two or three jobs at a time, but we did that together. And so him just being gone was big. It was big for our family, a big adjustment. The boys just missed the crud out of him. And so that was a big adjustment for us. That's how we got in trucking was him. It was him
Got
trucking.
yeah.
I was still doing my accounting piece for a while until he chose to take on owner operator, starting his own business.
Yeah, which is that's a lot too. That's a lot more hours than you probably think. Like you're obviously training, that's a lot too, but then getting into like being an owner operator, that's a lot on your shoulders. That's a lot of like coordinating this and that and whatever. So then at that point, did you jump in to help him on that part of it, or did he have his own like was he under somebody, or did he just operate everything all by himself?
Multiple steps, multiple layers to this cake, Danielle. So once he went out on his own, per se, once he finished his student driving, he turned into a company driver for about a year. And
Okay.
during that time, we both learned a lot. As a new company driver that had never done this before, out on his own, there was a lot to learn. I quickly became his right hand woman. His dispatcher, bless her heart, did what she could, but she couldn't work 24 hours for him. And so she would clock out and then I would be on deck. I would help him try to find truck stops. I would try to help him with anything while he's on the road trying to navigate the next day as a sounding board on frustrations he had. But, I think I have to give all the credit to my husband. He's incredibly smart at what he was doing. He just naturally networked. When he was at truck stops, he talked to other drivers. He would lean on veterans out in the industry, ask them questions, peel back. How did you get where you are? How did you get that truck? How have you been in the industry so long? What worked for you? What didn't work for you? And so he took those bits and nuggets and he utilized those as the pillars of creating his own business during that time of me finding truck stops for him. I think it's called truckmasters.com is like this old website. Reminds me of AS400 systems, if you know what those are. Old, outdated, green screens, right? Where he would tell me to go to this website, go find me a truck stop. I'm on I-70, I'm at exit such and such. And so I'd type it in and I'd be looking it up and I was like, oh, there's a really good truck stop right here. I said, how long do you have until your clock runs out? Because he had a Qualcomm in his truck. And he's like, I got 35 minutes. I was like, okay, 10 miles down the road, there's a truck stop. I've got you set up. Like, all right. I'd get a call 15 minutes later. Nothing nice to say. Alarms going off in his truck. His clock had ran out. The truck stop was full. I didn't know truck stops got full at that time. I'm like, it's truck stop. It says it has 180 truck spots. How was I supposed to know that you couldn't have a spot? Well, it was like 5 o'clock in the evening. Fast forward down the road now. I'm like, duh, you're still a girl. You should have known, but that's not something that's taught. That's something that's learned through experience. And so we quickly learned, okay, we've got to be looking for a truck stop early. He would start driving at 3 o'clock in the morning versus getting out on the road at 8 o'clock. So when he stopped, it was 2 o'clock and he would have empty spots. If he didn't get a load until 10 o'clock, we had to work around that and get crafty around where will you stop. So we found a lot of Walmart supercenters. You would think all that parking, surely they're going to allow truck drivers. Nope. Got kicked off those lots a couple times. So then we learned we had to call the manager and promise that we would be clean and take care of ourselves and spend in the store. And, it was a big eye opener for myself in this space with someone I truly loved and wanted to be taken care of as well on the road as he was at home. And finding out very quickly that wasn't the case, it created a desire in me to be part of a change, be part of making it better. And so being an unpaid dispatcher, evening dispatcher, I wouldn't call it dispatcher, helper, because I didn't dispatch loads. I was literally there just helping him navigate truck stops, find parking, help him with
Well,
his clock.
yeah.
It was a lot. Emotional for sure. Between missing him, hearing his frustration, knowing he wasn't being treated well, he couldn't stop on the side of the highway because he'd be fined or ticketed. That would cost him his license. That's our livelihood. Knowing doesn't have anything to eat because if he stops somewhere that doesn't have food nearby, he's just stuck. He's got a bottle of water and a granola bar. So we quickly learned to stock his truck. He would come home and I'd clean out his truck. I'd restock his refrigerator. I would clean the beds, help him make sure that he's getting out on that road in the event that these things happen. Bathrooms, huge problem. Huge problem. Bad apples are out there. There's a reason why companies don't allow certain things. But for the most part, the well-being of truckers should be the front and center of all of our businesses. They are the backbone. They are all of our customers. Let them use a bathroom. You don't want them throwing pee bottles out in your parking lot, then let them use a bathroom.
Yeah,
So just
receivers, how some of them won't even let them in. It's like, are you and yeah, I get that things happen, but that's why you have a cleaning crew. Like, I get it.
that's right. You're making enough money. Get a cleaning crew. Help the drivers out. You create a good space for them and they're going to be really, really good drivers for you. I mean, and it may be a company driver, but that driver you're probably going to see again sometime down the road. My husband revisits locations he used to drop off at that he dropped off at his company driver and now is an owner operator. So, trucking's small. Our community's small, it's tight knit. Things come back around.
Yeah, definitely, I'm sure. Well, that's wild. That's a lot of work as a mom going through that, plus working. You were working and then a mom of 4, you said? Or 2?
Four kids. I had two little, we called them the littles. The older two were in school, the younger two were at home,
Yeah, I got
daycare, all the things.
2 big ones, 1 little one, so I always say my big kids. But did they do sports? Because my kids
Mhm.
are all 3 are in sports, and so, like, my husband he did, tech tech work or whatever, maintenance work for, like, big machines or whatever. So he was gone, not as long as truck drivers are, thank God, but it would be, like, 4 days of the week, almost every week, and so then I had to handle the Monday through Friday handling is the hardest part. That's why, like, when
That's
people
the heavy lift.
yeah, whenever somebody, like, breaks up with somebody, they're like, "Yeah, I get every other week," and I'm like, "You have the best part. You get you're the
Get the
fun
fun
one."
time.
Yeah, I have to, yeah, suffer during the week. So, yeah, like,
Uh-huh.
during the week having to get everybody everywhere you need to go. I don't really have family around me, so it's like,
Me
or
either.
if I did have people that are like willing to help, it's like how much will they actually help without them feeling that you're burdening them? And I
Yeah.
have a complex on that, and it's so hard. Like it's takes a lot. Like the women in trucking part, I love that they created that because it's a lot. There's obviously truck drivers that are doing it too, but there's still that community of the trucking wives that they really do just as much. I feel like as an actual truck driver. Obviously, they're totally different dynamics, but one and the other have to yin yang type thing.
Successful drivers have successful relationships. The wives and behind the scenes, I've met many truck drivers who don't have support at home, and it just causes that much more stress in their world. Likewise, female drivers out there on the road that don't have a support system at home taking care of what needs to be taken care of at home, you just can't do it. There's no way that you could juggle having a family and being an over the road truck driver. Not quality of life anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And how some people will give up their whole home and just live out of their truck too. That's so difficult. I don't even understand how they can do that. I'm like, I like to decorate for Christmas and all, like I couldn't even imagine having to live out of a truck.
We've rode with him before. We take rides with him every once in a while. We'll get up in the truck with him and go on short runs, and sitting there in that truck for that many hours, that close together, smelling all the things, hearing all the things, doing all the things. It's good for a short time, but it works for some people. It just wouldn't work for me.
Yeah. I couldn't handle my kids in a car that for that.
No,
I can only do kids in the car for 7 hours max. Anything more, we're flying or we're not traveling there together. Sorry, I'll go with that. You guys need to grow up.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been quite a journey with my husband specifically, but for some reason I'm not wired to do anything halfway. I have to know it all and learn it all and find it all out. And so whenever he, decided at the end of his journey of being a company driver, he wanted to run his own company. Silly girl again. Here I come. Oh, I can run the back office. It's no big deal. And I can work a full-time job and take care of the kids. It's all good.
Oh my god.
Quickly learned that I knew nothing. I knew nothing about trucking. I knew nothing about all of the paperwork and all of the compliance and safety and tax filing and documentation you have to do when you're a truck driver. I still to this day, I've been doing this for my husband for probably about going on 10 years now. And I'm like, what is that document? What's that? What IRP? What is that? If the IRP, all the acronyms, it's like, I still have to just sit and replay what it was I did because it's annual paperwork, either quarterly or annual. So it's not a daily job that I have. So it's still like, and things change all the time.
They have to do a lot. I mean, the
Yeah, they
checklist
sure do.
is insane. It's like, I don't
Yeah.
understand. I mean, I get the safety wise on why they do things like that, but it is definitely wild. And me as like the fraud person or whatever, what I think is interesting is if there is a driver that's doing all those type of things, that almost should be relayed to technology platforms that are doing fraud to be like, yeah, they're actually legit and they do all of these paperwork because that takes so much time and energy. Like a fraudster's not going to be doing all that type of stuff. But they don't
Yeah. And
do
we're
those things.
small. We're a small trucking company. We only have 3 trucks right now, so we're not big. We're not to a point where we need to hire in people to do it for us or automate anything. It doesn't take me too much time to do it now.
Yeah.
But man, if I would have been in this community prior to thinking I knew it all, I could have taken a lot of shortcuts, saved myself a lot of pains.
Yeah.
I want to be in the community now for somebody else. I want to be a resource somebody can lean on and take those shortcuts and make it a little easier.
Yeah, just know all the tips and tricks and all those type of things. So what's your
That's
biggest
right.
tips and tricks then? Like, share a little bit of the things that help you stay organized and stay on top of things.
Tips and tricks. Well, tips and tricks is to lean on other people.
Yeah.
Tips and tricks are don't be too proud to ask for help. That's probably the best advice, biggest tips and tricks that I can let the audience know is don't be too proud to ask for help. I'm a very proud person. I felt ignorant if I had to ask. I felt like I should know it. And with my accounting background, I felt like these are numbers, figure it out. And I spent lots of time trying to figure it out. And in all reality, I should have just reached out to a few people I know and say, hey, what do I do?
Yeah.
Tell me how to get there. Use your resources, really. Tips and tricks are using your resources, using people that you know, ask for help, lean into these consulting groups, companies, blogs, posts. You have any idea how much I learn every day, Danielle, just by turning on Road Dog Trucking? This isn't a solicitation. I truly listen to Road Dog Trucking, going on to YouTube and watching drivers, like just getting out there and finding influencers, trying to find drivers that are talking about their day to day. I've
Yeah.
learned just so much that way. And I think that we're kind of trucking's kind of like taxes. I have to bring in that accountant. Taxes are always changing. You have to keep up with it. You have to continue your education to keep up with new laws, new regulations. It's the same with trucking. You just have to continually keep up with it, stay on top of it. Um, yeah, those are tips that I've come out of the back end on, but
I think that's
I don't
great.
think I'm an expert by any means.
Well, and I think the biggest like, I was, talking to somebody else the other day, and I was saying, like, the industry has changed so much where I think before truck drivers have been pretty good about, like, meeting up at a truck stop, and then they all sit there and kumbaya, that's
Have
not the right.
coffee and
They
kumbaya.
all
Yeah,
sit there and talk, yeah. They sit there and talk, they chase stories, whatever, but a lot of the rest of the logistics industry has really kept everything secret, like, "This is my area of whatever, and I know all the
that's
things."
right.
And I think COVID changed that a lot where everybody was in a whole new like, you could be in the industry for 20 years, and then COVID happened, and nobody knew what they were doing. We were all brand new at everything, and so we were all figuring it out together, and that's when I think all the platform, like, the different YouTube channels started opening up,
Hmm.
like, educating and giving whatever they knew out in the open. If there's anything good that happened from COVID, it was that it really boomed, education free education to come out there just with people telling their stories, so yeah, I'm glad you're using it taking a part of that and then now being a part of it too, so
Taking advantage of it. I feel like I want to add value in podcasts I'm on and any kind of conversations I have, but it always ends up reversing on me. I always learn way more than what I bring to the table in this industry. That's for sure.
well, that's the way to look at it as well. So, went from being owner operator, having his company driver training, company driver, having his own basically, and then where are you guys so I know you said the 3 trucks now, where else are you guys doing today?
Well, during the COVID experience, I got all excited. I was ready to go buy, a house and acres and all the shoes and pearls. And my husband was like, "No, you're not doing that because what goes up must come down." I think the biggest wake up call for me personally was how much we went down, the economy as a whole. We had a really good high. We had, as I say in the industry, hay stacked away in the barn. And so we had good savings up until probably February of this year. We're finally back in the black. So when the economy started to shift, when we started seeing the change, we were ready to. My husband's been leased on to somebody for many years. He was ready to branch out on his own, run under his own authority, start hiring more drivers, bringing in more leased on drivers, and really grow our company. And when he started seeing the landslide, he paused.
Yeah.
So we're still right currently today, we're still tucked under someone else's authority and running under their authority. I think there's a big misconception in the industry that if you're leased onto somebody else, you're kind of a company driver. Not really. You have the freedom to manage your own operational expenses independently of that. A lot of owner operators, a lot of truck drivers that want to branch off onto their own and go and lease under someone else's company are kind of misled a little bit into the fact that you have to use everything they have. You have to use their tablets, you have to use their maintenance shop, you have to use their fuel cards, you have to use their staff to do your admin work, you have to use them to do your IFTA filing. Again, we made the deliberate decision not to. It saved us thousands of dollars by just making that decision alone, knowing that we had the ability to go and find our own insurance. We had the ability to go find our own shop that would charge us less. We went and found a tire program on our own that we're getting actually better savings than we would get through the person we're leased onto because, of course, what are they going to do? They're going to get the savings and then they're going to tack on a little bit because you're using their stuff.
Right, right.
And with the fuel cards, they have a fuel card program. We deliberately went out and got our own fuel card, knowing that we were going to have to pay them 3% because we have to utilize their credit line, which they have a cost of capital, but they're going to pass that back to us. It's 3% on top of transaction fees. We still run under someone else's authority, but we're independently operating in a sense that we make our own decisions on what we do with our business and what companies we work. So that's where we are today. We're still holding tight, Danielle. We're like, is it going to stay? Is it going to get better? Because even if it doesn't get, which let me take that back. We know it's not going to be like COVID days. We
Right,
know
no.
we're out of the
Yeah.
unicorns and rainbows, right? But I have a sense, and I'm starting to feel like we're starting to normalize,
Yeah.
which is a comfortable space to be in. My husband is pretty strategic when he chooses what lanes he's going to run. If a lane's not paying what he needs it to pay, or Lowe's not paying what it needs to pay to keep us in the black, which is usually with our operational costs, with our trucks usually getting about 7 miles a gallon, we have to at least be making $1.90, $2 a mile for the lanes we run, the miles we are willing to run. He'll sit still. He won't take them if we're not in the black. I mean, he knows which lanes pay what. He knows the maintenance down to the penny of how much it all would cost to operate that truck, maintenance, tires, oils, all the things. And so we're finally in a spot where we're running 5 days a week and sometimes even a Saturday load. And that feels good to me because that means we're finally getting kind of normalized and we're getting paid pretty decent on these loads, well within the black. So if we can kind of stay in this arena and we can kind of stay still, then we might end up going ahead and run under our own authority. My husband has stacked away some savings where he can branch off and do that again. So we'll see. We'll see what we're talking about next year this time.
And I kinda think, like, the English proficiency stuff happening when they're saying that, like, a decent amount of drivers will come off the road, so I think that will, at the end of the day,
Okay.
help all the other drivers out there. I mean, I think brokers and shippers are gonna be upset about it because rates will change, but I think truck drivers, I think it's a good thing. And I mean, for the safety, it's a lot more than like I remember being a broker and talking to a driver who couldn't really you couldn't even communicate. You could not communicate with them. Like they were just like, yes, yes. You're like, I'm not asking a yes or no question. And so just being able to do like basic communication, it would be very different on if this is enforced long term and this stays to be enforced. And then how is that actually going to shift the way, kind of just like whenever ELDs became, I
That's
think
right.
not having paper logs, like, everybody was, like, throwing a hissy fit about it in the beginning, and it definitely changed the way the whole market was, and then it leveled back out, and everybody was normal with it, like,
That's
riding.
trucking, right? I mean, you look historically over the last 20 years, what has trucking done? Ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and
Oh, yeah.
downs.
Yep. In logistics for 10 years. So you've been in it for 20? Is that what you said?
Going on 20 years, yeah, and that's combined experience. Whenever I decided to help my husband with the back office side and learning that I didn't know what the hell I was doing, I intentionally left my current role where I was at with accounting and I started working for a large trucking company here in Kansas City. And I started as a billing clerk and I learned contracts, I learned rates, receivables, payables, trip packs, dispatching, touch safety, did or driver orientation,
Wow.
really got the big picture of what a large fleet company does and how they operate and and how you negotiate rates, how you manage your billing, your billables, receivables, how you manage your paperwork, what compliance means. So I got a lot of experience there. And within that time span, I've worked for many different types of businesses just to stack my education. I knew that I needed to learn brokerage, so I went and worked for a brokerage company on the accounting side, set up carrier packets, learned what it took to be a carrier for a broker, what you need to, making sure you don't have freight guards, making sure you got your insurance coverage, making sure you've got your ducks in a row per se, and you're a solid driver. So I learned what it took to be a carrier for a broker at that office, and I learned also what it takes to be a broker. Not my ball game. And then went and worked for a factoring company, and I learned what it took to be factorable, and I learned a lot about factoring agreements and what to stay away from. And from that role, I transitioned to fuel card, and this is where I've been ever since.
So, okay, the factoring things to stay away from. I'm interested more, I guess, in that too. What are some key things that you're like, you got to get? Don't even because there's so many there's obviously the giants, but there's so many factoring companies out there. And it's interesting. Like, for I actually get people reaching out to me like as they're trying to vet their carriers coming in on the factoring side. Like, hey, how do I make sure they're not just a scamster coming through? So I see so many different ones. I'm like, oh my, how is there this many factoring companies? So, what's your tips on that? I know you got lots of
It's on that. Read your contracts. Read the paperwork. You will get told by not so ethical business practices out there that there's not a contract. You're not locked in. You don't have to stay with us. You can get out anytime. But then in the paperwork, 60 pages in, it's going to tell you got a 2-year term
wow.
and you're locked in. And then you can't get out of that factoring agreement. You can't get out of the 3% fee that they have on all your invoices. You're in a bad payday loan situation. Read your paperwork, understand what you're signing up for, find a very reputable factoring company that isn't just trying to sell you and trying to influence you onto don't hurry. The faster they want you to hurry, the faster they want you not to read the fine print. And if you don't understand your legal documentation, find you a good attorney or legal representation that can read it for you. It may be a chunk of change out front. I $125 to have a legal representation review a document for you. It will pay off in the end. If you don't understand that legal documentation, have somebody look it over for you because that is a contract. It can take you out of business. So read it. Make sure that you're not getting locked in. I would say stay away from anything longer than a year term, personally.
Yeah.
If we had to factor, me and my husband, fortunately, have never been in a situation where we've had to factor. On the flip side of that, if we ever got into a situation where we were tight on funds, we would 100% factor with the right company because it does help your business grow. You need that 30-day float because you don't have it because things are so tight right now. Definitely choose a factoring partner. It can truly be the difference between going out of business or sustaining through the hard times you're having.
Interesting. So with the fuel card part, what is,
My favorite part.
I know, I know. I'm excited to get to this because that's a whole world I don't even know about. Fuel card. What is like, give me fuel card 101. Like I am a dummy when it comes to fuel cards. So give me all the things that I need to know.
Fuel card one-on-one.
Yeah.
I was also a fuel card dummy when I started working at this company. I
Okay.
thought it was all about just another credit card,
Right.
just another credit card. False. Well, false with a good fuel card company. Let me put it that way. The fuel cards are created for truckers to get cash price at the pump. And when I say at the pump, I mean the high flow diesel island pump. That's why they were created. The company I work for was the first fuel card in the industry, and it was designed to really help protect a driver because they used to carry around these big wads of cash, literally a safety hazard.
Yeah.
So it took the cash out of their pockets, put it on a piece of plastic, and helped a lot better with reporting. I don't know if you've ever worked in back offices of trucking, Danielle, but I did, and I'm telling you, it's a nightmare. Get fuel receipts, trip pack envelope, not good record keeping. So what a fuel card does is it provides that good solid reporting where you can manage your fuel expense and really understand where your spend's at, and really do a better analysis over where you should be spending and what you're saving, and help with your operational costs. So first tip or first fact, piece of plastic that you get cash price on. Fuel cards also benefit you. I don't know how truckers do not have a fuel card in their pocket if they don't. I hear truckers out there still using credit cards, and I'm like, man, just you're just throwing
Yeah.
money away.
I was gonna say there's a lot. That's a lot of extra per
Yeah,
gallon cost. Yeah. Okay.
man. Yeah. So fuel cards, you get cash price at the pump instead of the retail. You also get discounts. I don't think that there's one fuel card out there that you're not going to get a discount, at least at one truck stop.
Yeah.
A good fuel card is going to allow you to have multiple discounts on a piece of plastic. Another benefit of that is you can also have a float, 7-day float. You can get credit on a fuel card. Fuel cards like multi-service fuel cards, you can also help build your business credit. Whenever you sign up for a fuel card like ours, if you don't have credit, which a lot of new entrances to the market don't have, you can sign up and you can start building your business credit, which is huge in this industry because there's not a lot of ways to build your business credit as a trucker starting off. You've got your truck leasing payment. That's a monthly big chunk, but then your fuel you're paying it weekly. Boy, that builds business credit fast. So we help truckers build business credit, and we also again help with reporting. Me and my husband, we use our fuel card, multi-services fuel card, and it's a simple report I download every quarter, upload it right into IFTA taxes, seamless, 5 minutes to file IFTA. So we've got really good reporting to help. Another thing is find a fuel card that has a really solid mobile app that helps you identify pricing at locations along your route or wherever you plan on going. Example, get in the truck, pull open our mobile app. You're going to say, I'm going to start in Kansas City. I'm going to go out to San Diego. Along that route, it'll show you the price you're going to pay at each of those stops. That helps a tremendous amount on operational cost because there's a lot of illusion in the industry that you've got to get the best discount. You got to get the best discount. Doesn't matter sometimes. Sometimes you can get a really great discount, and unbeknownst to you, right across the street, you're saving $1.50 instead of that 50 cents.
Yeah.
So that price transparency to these drivers to really see where they can save on their fuel spend.
And I'm sure that kind of helps them plan out where there's like how you were helping your husband figure out where to stay. I mean, that kind of,
Yeah, this app.
yeah.
Yeah, because it also shows how many truck parking spots are available. It shows how big it is. I call it my husband typically on his dailies now where he's home every night. He just needs a splash and dash. He's driving through, put fuel in and getting out of there. So he can identify which locations that have a shorter line and he could just do that. Or
Right.
you can select, I need somewhere I can stay overnight. I just need somewhere that has showers. I need somewhere that has a doggy park. I need a full restaurant. You have options to select along that route what you're looking for too. So it takes the clutter away and it makes better decisions.
Interesting. That's so basically doing like what you did for so many years, but automated on an app. You're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, that's
Yeah.
cool.
It did help. It does help being here at multi-service and being the voice behind the product. We also have a ton of drivers that will help us build our product as well. We have some driver influencers out there and advocates out there that we've brought in to help us build because, you get kind of vision whenever you're inside of a product and you're inside of an office and you're thinking this is going to be the best thing for a
Yeah.
truck driver that's not in this office.
Yeah.
So we would make sure that we bring in not only our trucker friends, but also our merchant friends. So we're building on both ends. We have two customers. We have our truck stop friends and we have our truckers. And so we build a product around both of their needs.
No, that's key. I think a lot of products do not do that. They just are like, "Oh, I have a great idea," and then they don't test it out. 'Cause so, like, at Micro Portal, we did like, anytime we push out something, we're like, "Okay, let's see how this affects the network. Let's talk to drivers too. Is this gonna
Yeah.
make your life harder?" Because at the end of the day, like, for them, they're flying through these packets while they're driving, even though they're not supposed to be texting and driving, but usually they're, like, flying like, I'm
Yes.
how things are.
Yeah.
And so, is that gonna bog them down? Because even, like, an extra minute it makes a big difference when they're on the road trying to pick up a hot shipment or whatever, like,
Yeah.
every minute.
Every minute counts. Yeah. That's why it's really just extremely important for truckers and trucking companies do it pretty well. It's a lot harder for the smaller fleets, the one truck, two truck guys that are running an entire company while driving an 80,000 pound rig. It's a lot of you got to make it simple. You got to make it simple for these drivers. And, the best tip I can give is, man, do business with good, solid companies that truly have your well-being at heart, that are doing the, you know, the voice of customer and building a product based on what the customer needs, not somebody that's creating it as they think that they need to, or is taking advantage of your bottom, I would say your top dollar. They're trying to take off the top.
Yeah. So, I guess, is there anything as far as, like, hidden fees that you're like, if you met a brand new driver today, you're like, "Hey, these are the big red flags to avoid
Mhm.
using a fuel card." What
Yeah.
would be your biggest things that you'd say?
Yeah. Biggest thing. When they say our fuel cards accepted anywhere. It's easy to say if it's got Visa and MasterCard logos on it, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you have to be careful because having a product that doesn't understand the ask of the driver, you're going to get their fuel card. You're going to go out there on the road and you're going to be like, okay, everywhere Visa's accepted, I'm going to pull into this truck stop right here. It's not a truck stop. It's a convenience store. Uh-oh, now we're going to turn around your truck. Cost you time, cost you your equipment. You can't get that rig turned around. And boy, frustration, right? And then you can't fuel your truck. So you've got to go with a company that understands the industry, have a true fuel card. Watch out for those fees. They're going to say no fees, except for look at the fine print. As always, read the agreements, ask the solid questions on, do you have transactional fees? Do you have monthly maintenance fees? Do you have unused card fees? Do you have, just check the boxes on these fees.
Right.
There could be a reason behind the fees, maybe. Watch out for that because that can eat into your savings, and really watch out for fuel cards that are telling you that they can save you an amount that doesn't make sense. There are fuel cards out here that are telling truckers, I can save you $1.50 off a gallon. True, but false. I can save you $1.50 off at this one spot during this one time when the spreads are really great.
Yeah.
But as an average through the network, that erodes savings because they're really not getting that everywhere. So they're getting there's a big misconception in, I'm going to save $1.85 with this fuel card everywhere. No, 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 no. They want to get you. That's the hook. And then whenever you get signed up and you have a fuel card, you're going out here on the road and you're like, I didn't even save any money at this spot. I saved 3 cents here. Let me look. Oh, I did save $1 at this one spot a few months ago. So just don't get sold the false dream, making sure you're understanding the true savings, the average savings, and don't get stuck on, am I going to, this big sticker price, you're going to get discounts at 80% of the network. Really drill in and understand what's your network. So I need to make sure my fuel card works everywhere I'm traveling, but also understanding, do they have an app? Can I see the prices? Are they hiding prices at certain locations, or are they only showing their favorite truck stops? You want to see an entire network. You want to have visibility to all the prices, and you want to make sure you have a clear understanding of what those savings truly are at that cash price, not just at a discount level. And make sure you have a company that's going to answer the phone.
Yeah. I'm sure that's
That
huge.
company has to answer the phone. I mean, drivers cannot sit on hold. They're sitting on hold trying to get fueling, and that is costing them money. What a lot of companies don't understand is by not picking up that phone and not getting that driver running, you're not costing them just 30 minutes. They're not just costing them an hour. You could potentially be costing them that load for that day, and then a domino effect, another load. That's close to $3,000, $4,000. They could even lose a whole contract by not being on time. So making sure, you know, I could go on and on about our fuel card product and the company I work for, Danielle. It's incredible. That's why I stay here. The
Yeah.
people I work with, the company I work for truly has the driver's best interest at heart in everything we do. We have a customer support team that picks up in less than 23 seconds.
Wow. It's
That
crazy.
try me anytime. Pick up the phone, call our customer service number. You can get a hold of somebody in less than 26 seconds, 23 seconds, and our card works. Like that's what you need to go for. Somebody that's going to truly care about you, pick up the phone and take care of you in case you need them, and making sure that you're working with somebody that if I love it whenever drivers call and they want to learn about our product.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there and tell them that I've got the best product unless I really do. If they have another fuel card in their hand, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to help you on how to understand how to utilize and get savings on fuel. If you don't go with me, that's fine. I just want to help you making sure that you are getting the best deal. And that's what all of our sales reps do. We're not going to sit here and sell you into a product we can't stand behind because they're going to put us on blast. They're
I
going to
know.
go out there on social media.
Yep. Or
They're
even
going to tell the world.
they like we said earlier, like drivers kumbaya. They talk to each
Mhm.
other. That spreads further than even social media sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, so no, I think that's a good point. And like you said, like believing in a product and a company, like their values on things. I mean, that's why I've been where I'm at, and I'm obsessed. Like I've had offers to go lots of other places. People throw jobs at me sometimes. Like not to, I'm not trying to sound braggy or whatever, but I
That's what
genuinely
happens when you get out there.
right. Well, and I genuinely, really, truly like it would be take a lot for me to go somewhere else. I'd have to like their core values. I'd have to align with, and some people are like there to make a dollar, but I'm a lot more of like I need my like soul to be met, and then obviously money needs to be there as well. I need like I got kids too, so I gotta figure that out. But that's awesome that you found a company that you really love and believe in. You know.
Yeah, that's the passion behind what I do. If I don't have the passion and believe in the product I work for and behind, I'm not gonna be good at what I do. And in this space, reputation is everything.
Yeah. a
The
hundred.
relationships I have and the relationships I've built mean more to me than any dollar amount can dangle.
Yeah.
So working for a company that I truly believe in what we're doing and I stand behind so proudly is really what fuels my fire and has elevated me to be able to go out and talk to women at the women trucking events and be on a vice chair on the board with them. Now doing this great thing with the women in logistics through the BCS group. It's been extremely rewarding and fulfilling for sure.
So I'm glad you brought that up because that was going to be like my next segue on what we talk about is the women in the industry. I think it's interesting how the ones that I think most women in logistics are like just like my favorite type of girls. Like they're like the not too drama-y or they're just cool chicks. It's hard to
Yeah.
explain that, but like they're direct, they're blunt, but they're likable. Do you have the same experience too? And what do you think makes it where those type of women are attracted to the logistics industry?
Yeah, I have the same experience. I wouldn't be really where I am today if I didn't have women like that that have led the charge. The reason why I got involved in any of the elements of the women in trucking spaces that I have is because I've watched females and I've been around women that have had that same personality. I think if you're asking me personally what I think creates that and why it is, we're all too busy for the bullshit.
Yeah, I agree.
We are all so busy. Like
Yeah,
we are all there's too much to do. There's too much to solve. There's so much opportunity and energy in this industry that the drama, there's just not any room for it and it flushes itself out really quickly.
yeah,
I mean, it's instead of competition that tears each other down, we create collaboration that lifts everyone up. And
right.
that's what keeps drivers in business essentially.
Yeah, and I think we in logistics, especially being part of like women in trucking, women in logistics, it is like a community. And like I know I can call somebody and say like, "Hey, I need advice on this or whatever." Like I had a situation where I was like I wanted to get promoted in whatever. I wanted a different role. How do I position this? Like I asked like the CEOs out there and was like, this is what I want. How do I get there? How do I do this? Instead of like, I don't wanna ask like a man, like, that's how some people say, like, I don't wanna do that. I want to ask like I would ask, but
Yeah.
I don't wanna sound like I'm cocky or I know it all or whatever.
Mhm.
I wanna know, and there's so many great women out there that I asked, and they were just, like, so helpful.
Oh yeah.
So I think we were talking in Atlanta, and you were like, "I really wanna do an event where we're all like a networking event because there's so many women, the great women, and I don't think there's enough we don't know all the great women out there, you know? Like, I could tell you, like, 2 handfuls of all the great women. There's so many more out there. Tell me your dream about your networking event.
My hopes and dreams. I come up with crazy ideas. We'll see if I can execute on it. That's still to be seen. Fingers crossed. Yeah. I've got a lot of incredible people surrounding the idea and supporting the idea. So looking pretty good. My hope and dream, obviously, as everybody hears me talk all the time about my passion for the trucking industry and the actual truck driver, I have some friends in the industry that really don't ever get to come to these events because they are driving the truck or they're out trying to meet the driver where they are. And a lot of the events that I go to, common theme, which makes sense for a lot of the business professionals, are, big convention centers in the heart of a city or, well,
Yeah.
let's just leave it at that, in the heart of a city.
Yeah.
That's where they typically are.
Yeah, drivers
Um,
go in there. Yeah.
yeah, and they're, during times like 8 to 5 during the day. Drivers can't come to those events. Drivers have to work. If they stop moving, they stop getting paid, period, point blank. That's it. I'm truly passionate about the owner operator space, the 1 to 2 trucker guys, and that really holds true to that specific niche in the industry. They just can't stop. I mean, I use the term can't stop, won't stop all the time. They That's literally the term that truck drivers have. Can't stop, won't stop. I can't stop because I won't get paid. So I envisioned this opportunity after talking to my good old buddy out there, Alex Mai, with Mother Trucker, who just acquired a third of a truck stop down in Texas. And he was talking about this event space. He was talking about how great it was. And I'm a huge fan for cool truck stops because, I get to frequent them often. So
I've
does
seen them
the
around for years.
yeah, so I was, talking to him. I saw his event space, and I now being co-chair of the Women in Logistics group with the BCS group. That's a mouthful. BCS Women in Logistics. My previous role was chair of the events committee, and so it was my job to create a party theme around the women in logistics spaces at these broker carrier summit events, and kind of mirroring what other women groups do. I was like, man, it'd be cool to have an annual event. Why don't we do an annual event? I was like, but where would we have it? And then as I was talking to Alex, he was telling me about this great place. I was like, oh, you have event space? How great would that be to have the Women in Logistics annual event at a truck stop?
That'd
How
be
cool is that?
so fun.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's go where the drivers are at, where we can actually be face to face where our customer is and be surrounded and be a central spot where truck drivers can come to us and they're not going to lose money. If they're just stopping in for a shower or for fuel real quick, we can say hi, or they can come and have a coffee with us. Or if they're doing a 34-hour restart, come and have a drink with us. But we're
Yeah.
going where the truckers are at. And that to me, that's like, wow, that's going to be so cool if I can pull this off. It'll finally space where we can bring in women trucking, obviously women truckers, but all truckers who even support women in truck. I think it's going to probably snowball into something a little bit bigger. I think that there might be some plans about having an event surrounding that as well. So it's going to create a space for all sorts of people to come together at a place where the truckers are at, which I take great pride in being able to do this and to bring this to the table if we can execute it.
I think whenever you told me about this, I mean, I'm like, this is brilliant. Like, it's a great. I think the biggest miss is that, like you said, it's not somewhere where they're easily able to like hop out of their truck. Hey, nice to meet you guys. Bye. Flop out of there and go do whatever. And then a lot of times, trucking companies, especially the smaller fleets, they can't afford to pay $1,000 to go to an event that they're only going to go to for an hour or two because they got to go pick up a load or whatever. I mean,
And I'm
that
creating a space where truckers can get in for free to this event.
yeah.
This will totally be a people like us paying for the situation or sponsors paying for truckers to come in and enjoy some time with some professionals in the industry.
Yeah, that's huge. I think that is actually understanding the clientele. Like that is actually understanding what a real driver goes through and like how can you bring them to you instead of,
Yeah.
you know, the other way around? Or how can you
Yeah.
come to them? Whatever the word is. You know what I mean?
Let's go hang out with our truck drivers, Danielle. I mean, that's the funnest thing ever. That's, the cool thing going back to the company I work for and I love it so much is that's the one thing that this company does that I haven't seen a lot of companies do. We have a full week. We kind of extended out kind of probably a 3-month time frame. We give back to truckers. We give away these boxes with all this cool swag in them just to give it away to truckers, just say thank you.
Yeah, because you
Right.
did that in Atlanta when you were in Atlanta. You
Sure
went to
did.
the track, right? Is that the
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. I
Yep.
mean,
Very spec location there.
that's so fun. Yeah.
We're doing it here in Kansas City. We're doing like a little network of truck stops that have partnered with us and allowed us to come up and I call it Pop a Squat, throw up our tent and hand out freebies to truck drivers. I would do it all year long if I could, but we've got some great sponsors that give us swag to put in our boxes and we're able to give it to drivers and tell them thank you. It's crazy how on their face they're like, "No, you're trying to sell me something." I'm like, "Please
Promise.
just take this gift. Don't take away my gift giving. I want to give you a gift. Not, I won't sell you. I promise." Hard as it is for me to want to help you with your fuel savings, I'm just giving you something to show you how much you are appreciated in this space.
Well, and because you do have your husband that does this, it's like a different whole like, I appreciate it in a I understand how logistics works. I had drivers that hauled loads for me that were like my best buddy. Like, I talked to them all.
Yeah,
They're like my best buddies, but I never had to, like, live it, you know what I mean? Like, you lived it and you know what it's like, the sacrifices they make, you get that. I never had to deal with that, so that's a whole different level of, like, appreciation and all that stuff, so
yeah, it's so cool. I mean, likewise, I made, some incredible friends out there in the industry. I never thought that would happen. I was really just super focused on making a good product for the truck drivers like my husband, our trucking company. But man, you talk about the friends I have now, just
yeah.
like family, like you said, Daniel, just like
Yeah.
family.
Well, and I think as a female adult mom, whatever, working mom, it is hard to find friends. Like it's not like high school where you have like a
No,
abundant amount of people to hang out with all the time. It is hard to find friends, especially if I work remote. It is hard to find friends. So that's why I love conferences and networking events because I'm like, I wanted to have all of my friends. And so
I
I
had
love
so much fun at those events too.
I'm so glad that you have the same experience I do because I think some people take full advantage like you and me. Other people take in a corner, and those are the ones I'm like, "Come here!" I'm like,
Those are
"Well,
when I seek out, like, what are you doing?
me too." I know.
Why are you hiding?
If you are any, I guess, advice to women in the industry on networking more, like whatever you think that they I guess need to hear to know, like, hey, we all love you. What would you say?
Yeah. Yeah, we all love you. Don't let your pride get in your way. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Nothing is a silly question. The way I've learned, as much as I've learned in this industry, is being vulnerable enough to ask for help. Ask questions. Don't, some people are introverts. I understand. Maybe I don't really understand, but I try to empathize with introverts, right? But you can only grow through discomfort. If it's uncomfortable, that means you need to break through that barrier, talk to people, just introduce yourself. I am terrible. People can't believe this about me. I am terrible at social events.
You were
All
great.
I want to do is go in and sell,
But yeah,
sell, sell, sell. Let's do business together. Let's get this industry doing better things. Let's save money for drivers. Let's talk drivers. Let's talk shop. I am not a good social talker.
I'm the polar opposite.
I
I
know. You're going to teach me everything I need to know.
Well, sometimes I forget. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I'm actually supposed to be selling here." Like, "Oh, whoops." But I think that's the point. Like, there is like a so my what I've learned with sales anyways, like my advice, I guess, to you is like, I want if I go to an event, I want it to where like we leave and we're best friends. And then you're like,
Yes.
"Hey, what did you do for a living again?" Like, I don't even think you told me, but we're best friends. I trust you with whatever you tell me because we're so close. And that's what I do not try to be like that, but that's what I've done, and I've had, like, great success with that, so
That's what you're gonna teach me. That's where you're gonna mentor me because I feel like I'm stepping on toes and I'm crossing the line when I start asking personal things. But it's kind of cool in our space because I don't play golf. I do like to fish. I don't play golf. So whenever I'm talking to men in this space and social events, it's like, how's golf been going? And then he says something I'm like, "What does that mean?" I feel awkward. It's an awkward environment for me. But in the women's space, I kind of feel the same way. Like I don't want to be nosy or intrude, but I've learned to grow outside of that and ask simple, just introduce myself. And
yeah,
just introducing yourself, just if you're a woman in a space, introduce yourself. Take advantage of these networks. Be as closed off as you want, but still interact with the people around you. You'll be amazed at what you know. And if you're somebody that is new in this space and you're like, I don't even know where to start. Start with a LinkedIn chat. Start with a phone call. Hey, how's it going? Just start with communicating. Communication is key in this space and in the women's space especially. I know for myself personally and just knowing what I know of you and the women I've been around, we're excited to help. We want to help. We want to share all of our secret sauce. We want to be able to, connect you with people. It's probably my favorite thing.
yeah, me too.
Most of the time in my conversations, 90% of my conversations, I'm not getting business out of, but I'm linking them to somebody else that can help them solve the solution they're seeking.
Yeah, me too.
And that's cool with what I'm doing because then it turns around. It comes full circle back.
Yeah, or at least I'm like, "Hey, you're cool and this person's cool. You guys should hang out because you guys are both cool." And, it's funny because sometimes I've seen it that happen where I'm like, "Oh my god, you need to meet so and so," and then I almost forget what they do, and then they start talking, and then it's like, "Oh my god, they're actually perfect for." I'm like a matchmaker. This is perfect
Nice.
connection and matching up whatever one person's problem as the other person has a solution or whatever. So, yeah,
Well, you're
I
calling.
you're right, where it's like you cannot network enough, and I think no matter how introverted you are or how much you feel like, I'm scared to ask this question or whatever, at the end of the day, people love talking about themselves, and I think, it's like I just said, it's so hard to find friends nowadays. Well, especially after the COVID, like, it was hard. That was hard on me. I had a hard time. I couldn't
Well, I'm glad you're out
I
out again.
I know, me too. I'm so happy. I'm like, yeah. But, well, thanks so much for joining me. So you're gonna be at the Broker Care Summit in Orlando. Is there any other events yet?
Yeah, headed to Chicago next week. Super excited about that. I get to hang out with some colleagues of mine and meet new people at the International Factoring Conference for Transportation. First half of the week, second half of the week, I'm going to jump 2 blocks down and go to the National Ace Conference with my friends over at Shell Lubricants team. Got to team up with them and interact with a whole bunch of the sales reps for National Ace. So that's going to be a fun time for me. And then, yeah, fast track to Orlando. That's exciting. Get to do the women logistics thing. Get to do the whole networking thing, which BCS is incredible about doing. They create the space where, man, so many opportunities at those events. Huge fan. Got stuck to it. But they came here in Kansas City, and I went in with a not so optimistic mind, thinking it was just okay. What's this? And I went, and I was like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. I can't stop. And so I've been addicted to the networking.
I think
Great people.
great people, and at BCS, their networking events really are I love that there's no 'cause so I'm a vendor and you are too, but, going to a place where you, have a booth and I'm, having to put on
Suck.
my vendor booth hat, gross, I hate that. So, I'm like, I love going to conferences, but, I wanna come out after 5 o'clock when the doors shut and, the after party begins. That's when I live my best life.
I know that's when she shines. Yeah, the broker carrier summit though, I mean, that's kind of
All day is
really where that's my wheelhouse. That's where I get to talk shop and people are there wanting to talk shop and you're getting deals done. You have the time for it. You're not rushing off to another session. You're not forced into getting in a room and sitting and watching the stage. You can jump in as you want, but there's all these areas around that to just sit, truly share notes, information, and really get deals done. I think Dan said it best, probably taking the words from somebody else's mouth. I believe it was Dan. You will get out of that conference what you put into it. And if you're truly there to make deals, you will come out with deals. So that's BCS, October, my favorite place. Women in Trucking Conference, Accelerate. That's going to be a great time. Tons of incredible women in this industry are there. And also, I encourage, and I see it now more than I did when I first attended, a lot more men are there supporting women. So I have a lot of networking opportunities at those events, but I run into a lot of near dear friends of mine at that event as well. And then after November, I think I get a break.
yeah,
We'll
hopefully your
see.
event, though.
Well, I think we might roll that might be rolling into February. I heard from some truckers out there that December might not be the best time to try to hold a trucker down because they're tight between holidays and trying to make up for that time. February, they're more getting out there on the road. So I think we might lean into, one of my favorite months, February. Show our
Yeah.
love to our truck drivers out there.
No, that's a great idea. Make sure you invite me because I wanna come. I'll fly out wherever you
You'll be
have it.
so invited. Yeah, so cool. I'm excited. It's started to come together. So if it happens, I will definitely be celebrating. Even if just one or two people show up, I don't care. I'll go out and talk to the drivers out in the restaurant or out in the parking lot. I'll make a good time.
Yeah, you'll be handing out goodies. I have some TME, stickers coming, so I'll have to ship some to you so you can put some in
Sick.
the gift boxes or whatever that you have.
That's fantastic. I'm gonna send you over some swag too. Some of our never all alone, so you never feel alone.
Heck yeah, let's do it. Well, cool. Thanks for joining me today, and, see you at BCS.
See you then. Take care.
Bye, everybody.